park police and a park ranger came by to talk to Margaret and me, who are on the permit, to discuss, I assume, what happens now. We had a lot of people around, a lot of media watching, and they were not comfortable with that. We tried to walk away from the media. Everyone followed, and Margaret suggested that we have this meeting out in the open and in public, since there was nothing to hide. And then they decided they want to have a private meeting. We haven't scheduled that yet. I think they said something about 3 o'clock, but I don't know if that was firmly scheduled. And we thought that before we decided whether to have that private meeting or not, we'd get feedback from all of you and get the Assembly's view on it, so we didn't act beyond the consensus of everyone who's here.
About, right? So maybe we can take stack and line up for people that would have something to say. But yeah, I guess we shouldn't stand in front of the speaker. All right. So I guess the question on the table right now is, should we, a delegation, go to the, I guess it would be Kevin and myself since we're on the permits. Yeah, we can decide. Should we, as a delegation, go to the National Park Service office and speak to them in private, or shall we ask that they speak with us publicly? That would be the first question, I think. Feedback, you want to take stack line up? Okay, let's turn it up.
Let's try to keep the comments short.
It does. It's a new one.
One more. No.
I'm sorry, this is the gentleman that pushed the security guard the other day at the Air and Space Museum and has been inciting violence in the young people that are here, and he's not welcome in this community. Do we have anybody else that would like to make a comment?
Yep.
Anybody else want to make a comment on this? Come on up.
Sure. Can you move the speaker forward?
My personal opinion only is I agree. I think that Margaret and Kevin should go and talk to them in private and then tell us what they say.
Yeah.
They're definitely not going to say anything in public.
I definitely think we should be public, and I agree with the principle of total transparency. You know, we're all here to see what they have to say and what's really going on, and I think we should stick with that.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. It should be public so everybody can hear it. If they don't want to say anything, then that's their choice. We're willing to talk. Let them come talk to us.
Yes. Woo!
First of all, let me just say I love what you guys are doing and what we're standing for. I want our people to come home from the wars. We need to keep our young men. And also, get out of the way of this damn corporate greed.
Yes.
We've had enough. I just want to say one other thing. Yeah, and I want us to be transparent. So for a general conversation seems very reasonable. Thanks.
Let's stay on point and keep our comments brief. The issue is, do we meet with them in public or do we agree to meet with them in private?
Any other questions or point of order? Did you ask the meeting?
We asked that they meet with transparency, and they said they would call us, but they wanted a private meeting over at the Park Police headquarters.
Do you have a point of information?
Is the issue meeting publicly or meeting with? Is the issue of meeting publicly or an issue with a public meeting here with the media?
I don't think that. I'm not sure I differentiate the two. The media is the public. I don't. Yeah. I like the media here personally.
Yeah.
They provide protection.
I mean, our group.
We are all the media.
I think that it needs to be public. We need to understand that we have spokesmen. We have spokesmen here. Nobody else should speak, but we should just listen and learn so that you know what's affecting you.
I feel if they want to have a private meeting, they should have a private meeting with all of us.
Yes! Woo! That's what I say, yes.
I feel like everyone needs to be represented, and I do disagree having just spokespeople, because this is a movement without leaders and without quote-unquote spokespeople. There are people that helped organize this event, but they're no higher than us, and I'm sure they would agree to that, even though they're very intelligent people. There are some things that some of us may think of that they wouldn't think of, or that no one else would think of in such a meeting, and if we don't agree to a private meeting, then we force a win-win situation. Either they have to say it in front of everybody, or they don't say it at all. Either way, we win.
Point of information first. It was a private meeting in the least agreed upon by the park police.
Not by us.
No, by the park police.
They suggested it.
They suggested it. Okay. Ideally, we would all want it in public. If they refuse, however, our collective act, privately, I mean, personally, I think we'd all would want it in public. That's understandable. But if they refuse to do it, I think the one problem is all our collective actions may still come down to the people whose names are on that permit, and we can have a great effect on what happens to them by, you know, not being willing to at least meet with them in private. And again, in the spokesperson thing, you can all tell us, you know, what I'm asking is, would you rather not have the meeting at all in order to have it public? Is that the position you're in?
Kevin and I are saying that our names are on the permit and we're willing to do whatever it is, and we're not, you don't have to take us into consideration. It's what we need to do. So I think a public meeting is important. They're going to call me on the phone and I need to know what to say.
Okay, I'd say I would rather have a public meeting, but I really don't have a problem if the police are completely transparent with them and you bring us the information the police bring you, then I think that's at least a starting point for sure.
I mean, a lot of people are talking about public meetings. Does anyone favor or want to speak to the issue of a private meeting being let's have some different views there, because everyone's public meeting, we hear you, I have that preference too, but let's hear the private meeting argument.
I'm a great believer in transparency, and I believe that we have a consensus to operate on transparency within our movement. It's impossible to impose that on every organization with which we deal. And I think we should recognize in dealing with the park police that if we refuse to meet with them in private, they refuse to meet with us in public, it's likely that they will just go ahead and take the action of moving us off the plaza abruptly. I think if you meet with them privately with the understanding that we don't commit to anything, I mean, obviously, because of our operating rules, Margaret and Kevin are not going to make a commitment for us without coming back to the meeting. And they would have to know that. That is, the park police would have to know that. But it gives them some wiggle room to do things that they wouldn't do if we force them into a corner. It gives them some latitude to operate within the constraints that they have to operate as a government agency. So that's why I completely trust Margaret and Kevin, and I think they'll go to a meeting, make their best case, get what they can out of the park police, and come back and let us know what it is, and then we decide what we're going to do. My impression is we're going to stay here regardless.
Big twinkle. We just say, I think so far we should look what the police have done. They've actually been giving us a lot of breaks. You know, they called it resting when we were sleeping out here. The tents got put up, they didn't get taken down. Our food was not done in the compliance way that they wanted it done. They let us do it. We've been able to do a lot of things without much problem for the park police, so they seem like they're trying to give us a break. And we had a dance last night that went beyond the 10 o'clock limit with electric sound. It was a damn good dance. So they've been giving us a lot of breaks. So we should approach this, I think, you know, not as them as an adversary. They may be trying to help us. They may want to meet with us in private to give us some kind of offer they can't do in public. Amen. You know, so we may have to, let's think about that a little bit. You want to say something? You had your hand up. I know you're not just posing. Come on. No, he said it from the beginning. He was way early.
Hi, I'm Fletcher Ostrom. I came down from New York. Came down from New York. Was one of the original occupiers. All of these breaks that you're getting are your rights to begin with. think we have the right to assemble, and I heard you say that to the police officer and to the media afterward. So all of these breaks, you had them. You haven't been given anything that you didn't have already. And I would like to push that if you do go for a private meeting, that you record it.
Okay, let's go back for the stack here.
Okay, so
It's very hot out here, isn't it?
first of all, I got in this stack not because I really wanted to, but because almost all men were standing up here and we were hearing their voice, and I think women need to stand up so we can hear our voice.
Yes.
I think I agree with the gentleman who said, sure, we'll meet with you in private, all of us, and we can meet in public, whichever. And I agree with this young man who just said, they're not giving us anything. We have our constitutional rights. We have to remember that. And they're supposed to be here to protect our constitutional rights. So I say, agree to meet in private with all of us, or meet in public. We're not refusing either.
Thanks. I just actually have a question of not a process, but of purpose. So